JC, Brandon, and I are joined by two special guests, Josh and Alexa, and the five of us are going to continue Gearbox Month with Borderlands 2. So charge up your shields and equip your favorite class mod as we dive into the next episode of Tilted. Hey there, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tilted. We here at Tilted are proud to announce that for the first time ever, we are powered by Mammoth Gamers. Check out their website, www.mammothgamers.com. They have a lot of cool gaming content, including review articles, industry news, as well as a lot of new podcast content coming out this fall. Today, JC, Brandon, and I are joined by two special guests, Josh and Alexa, and the five of us are going to continue Gearbox Month with Borderlands 2. So charge up your shields and equip your favorite class mod as we dive into the next episode of Tilted. Hey there, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tilted. We here at Tilted are proud to announce that for the first time ever, we are powered by Mammoth Gamers. Check out their website, www.mammothgamers.com. They have a lot of cool gaming content, including review articles, industry news, as well as a lot of new podcast content coming out this fall. Today, JC, Brandon, and I are joined by two special guests, Josh and Alexa, and the five of us are going to continue Gearbox Month with Borderlands 2. So charge up your shields and equip your favorite class mod as we dive into the next episode of Tilted. Hey there, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tilted. We here at Tilted are proud to announce that for the first time ever, we are powered by Mammoth Gamers. Check out their website, www.mammothgamers.com. They have a lot of cool gaming content, including review articles, industry news, as well as a lot of new podcast content coming out this fall. Today, JC, Brandon, and I are joined by two special guests, Josh and Alexa, and the five of us are going to continue Gearbox Month with Borderlands 2. So charge up your shields and equip your favorite class mod as we dive into the next episode of Tilted. Hey there, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tilted. We here at Tilted are proud to announce that for the first time ever, we are powered by Mammoth Gamers. Check out their website, www.mammothgamers.com. They have a lot of cool gaming content, including review articles, industry news, as well as a lot of new podcast content coming out this fall. Today, JC, Brandon, and I are joined by two special guests, Josh and Alexa, and the five of us are going to continue Gearbox Month with Borderlands 2. So charge up your shields and equip your favorite class mod as we dive into the next episode of Tilted. Hey there, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tilted. We here at Tilted are proud to announce that for the first time ever, we are powered by Mammoth Gamers. Check out their website, www.mammothgamers.com. They have a lot of cool gaming content, including review articles, industry news, as well as a lot of new podcast content coming out this fall. Today, JC, Brandon, and I are joined by two special guests, Josh and Alexa, and the five of us are going to continue Gearbox Month with Borderlands 2. So charge up your shields and equip your favorite class mod as we dive into the next episode of Tilted.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Tilted, the exceptional podcast for the average gamer. I'm your host, JC, with the usual suspects, the shirt twins, Brandon and Chip. What's going on, fellas?
What's going on, guys?
Not much, how are you?
I'm doing well, and we've got two special guests with us, Josh and Alexa, special friends of the show. How you guys doing? Welcome to Tilted. We're doing well. Joshy, how about you?
Doing well.
Did you hear that, Alexa? You're a special friend. Sorry, couldn't help myself.
All right, well, today we're talking about Borderlands 2, the sequel to the famous Borderlands 1, which came out in 2009. So we're talking about Borderlands 2, 2012. And as is customary, Chip, would you please start us off with the lore of the game?
Blow stuff up. No, it's really... once again, like I said in the other episodes, the lore is so great, and there's so many little things in it. Go look it up, play it for yourself. It's great. Basically, it boils down to there's a new set of Vault Hunters.
Is it though? Is it new?
Well, yes, you play as a new set of Vault Hunters. And you go along this quest to find another vault. Not this time because of the treasures, but because the main protagonist of the game, Handsome Jack, is trying to open it and use the creature within to destroy everything and take over the world or something like that. And you end up teaming forces with the previous Vault Hunters, Roland, Lilith, Brick, and Mordecai. I call him Mordecai because maybe we'll talk about it later, but spoilers, I'm not sure. and you fight your way through. Oh yeah, Josh, you played Mordecai. I'm sorry, rip. But you play your way. You fight through hordes of crazy lunatics and psychopaths to stop Handsome Jack, the bad guy, from getting to the vault and opening it, and you end up having to kill the baddie that's inside. And hilarity ensues in between. It's a really good time.
I do love Borderlands. That's we were talking about Josh, and this is the Josh from last time on Tilted. This was the Mordecai. This was the assassin to my El Generico. And jumping right into the characters, that's exactly the same character I played all over again. It literally was just a different cosmetic skin. It felt like Axon, essentially, kind of a lot of the same stuff. The healing turrets, they were defensive, restored shields, all that stuff. I mean, I didn't think there was a lot different, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it, in my opinion. I thought it was great. So Josh would be doing a lot of damage, and I'm just getting shot at.
Yeah,
he's just
super vanilla soldier.
Yeah,
he even has like the generic soldier backstory. Like he's I think it's like the Crimson Legion is the name of the group that he's, and he's like been banished from it, or he left it because he has the moral high ground, and now he's
the Crimson Raiders.
Crimson Raiders, something like that, and he's out doing nonsense with his random turret and his guns because he's a big strong man, and his name's Axton. Like so generic. The other character I play is the Siren always. Her name's Maya. She is bae. She is, for all the anime fans, she is forever my first waifu. She has this bright electric blue hair that you can change eventually. And she's a siren, which in the lore of the game, there's only like a couple of them that have ever been born. So they're super powerful. And her thing is like, it's called phase lock instead of phase walk, where the description of it's really disturbing, actually. You pick somebody up and you put them in a pocket dimension of pain. And they're like in midair, like screaming because they're just like being tortured, basically. And then eventually you get stuff like it does elemental damage, and then you can like pick up multiple people and it chains different people. Yeah, she's great. She's phenomenal.
If you're an audio listener, I think you missed, at least Alexa and I think Josh did as well. We just kind of sat there and we're just looking at Chip like, oh my God, are you kidding me? I didn't know the specifics of how that happens, but that's horrifying.
Yeah, I don't know the exact like terminology they use, but it's basically like a pocket dimension in which they're just like pained forever. And I think like, I don't know if I read this somewhere on the internet and it's wrong, but like one of the lore things that I found, like I said, I could be wrong. So if someone fact checks me and I'm wrong, I'm sorry. I'm just a fan of the game. But like time for them, like it only happens for a few seconds, but like time for them doesn't exist, so they don't know how long they've been in there. It's horrifying. It's horrifying. That's why she's best girl. She will always be best girl. And then the next character you could play as is named Salvador. He's like, well, I can't. I'm sitting down, so I can't do this. But he's like 4 foot tall, like a thick Latino accent. He is the berserker of the group, but he's called a gunzerker. So instead of when you use your ability, instead of going nuts and like cracking your knuckles and running around and punching things, he just like pulls out another gun and just dual wields and runs around, and just like takes a bunch of damage. One of the fun things I like about him is in the game they have like recordings that you can pick up to find out the backstories of all the playable characters. And one of the ones you find of Salvador is you find out that he was run out of his village for killing a man. And they're like, they're gonna hang him. They're trying him, and they're like, why did you kill that man? He's like, he was going to kill my abuela. And they respond like, do you have anything to say for yourself? And there's a big pause. He's like, it was fun. Like it was fun. But yeah, he runs around. He has 2 guns and just blows stuff up. I have a buddy of mine who played as him, and his favorite thing was to run around dual wielding rocket launchers, just like hip firing rocket launchers at random people. Yeah, no, great character. I never played as him.
And Zero, the next character of the original 4. I'm pretty sure when we played Borderlands 2, pretty sure you were Zero, and he did the thing where he's an assassin. And he's all covered. We don't know if he's like human or robot or whatever, but he's all in one suit. Like you can't see his face or anything. But he does, I believe it's called Deception, and it's where he says some really creepy stuff.
Yeah.
Your eyes deceive you, and I think he puts out a clone.
Yeah.
And then does 1 billion damage.
He becomes invisible and then go wherever you want. I think he has a dash as well. So then you can get close. He's got a sword as his melee attack. So you can do more damage melee-wise.
Yeah, I remember. I think we called Mordekaiser edgelord in the last game, but like Zero is like edgelord to the extreme. The quiet brooding doesn't say anything except for like some really like edgy stuff, and then just like shows up behind you and stabs you with a katana, and you're dead. And they're the 4 new characters that you can play as. Now there are DLC characters, but these are the main 4. One of the DLC characters I never really played. Josh, I don't know if you ever played them. I guess it's the Necromancer Gage. She didn't really tickle my fancy. She had a giant robot that you like threw out at people. I've seen her be played, and apparently at high level she like rolls through people like her giant death robot. You just like throw her out and just hang out and watch the death robot kill people. But I never played as her.
I found your character. Go.
Yeah. But the second DLC character, Krieg, is by far one of the best playable characters in a video game, in my opinion. He's in the game they're bandits called psychos, which wear like hockey masks and run around with like buzz saws, like which are circular saw blades on just like axe handles. But you get to play as one of them, and the only way I can describe this to somebody is like Deadpool, but not as coherent, because Krieg has he was a normal human being. He was sane, and then he went crazy. Except for his inner voice is sane as can be and tries to like talk him out of doing things. So when they introduced him, they gave like this little theatrical of it where he sees Maya like killing a bunch of psychos, and he likes her. He thinks she's beautiful. So you hear the internal voice like, okay, don't mess this up. Just go up to her and tell her she looks nice. And Krieg just yells, "You look great on my meat bicycle!" and like runs out. And it's just like some of his dialogue that you hear in the game when he's killing people is the internal monologue being like, "All right, you brought this upon yourself. I can't hold them back anymore." Like it's just it's like if you know Deadpool, how he has like the sane Deadpool and insane Deadpool. It's kind of like that. And I think his ability is like Buzz Axe Rampage or something like that, and he just runs around with the Buzz Axe and like cuts people down. But one of his things is like, if you take damage, you deal more damage. Like the more damage you take, so the more pain he gets inflicted upon him, the more damage he does.
Oh my god.
And one of the classes, I think it might have been the Siren in this game, but I'm not 100% sure. One of the classes has an ability where if you shoot your teammates, you heal them. And if that's not on, otherwise you don't do any damage to him. But Krieg takes full damage from all of your bullets. So if you throw a grenade and Krieg runs into all of the bad guys and the grenade blows up, you can actually down him. Because Krieg likes pain, and he's one of those weird like sadomasochists or something like that.
Well, now jumping into the notable
quality characters.
He's pretty well. As we were saying, these are the 4 original characters you can play in this game. Are the new characters, which I thought they made slight nuances to. They changed it just a little bit, but I think at its heart, it's still kind of the same basic class characters. And what I thought was really cool is in 2, you interact with the guys from the first game.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah. So starting off with Brick, and if I remember this correctly, I think you're going through a almost like a mini boss kind of run, and you're going through, and you think you're gonna fight this big boss, and then it's Brick.
Yeah, I think he's like King of the Slabs or Slags or something like that. Like it's like this psycho raiding group that he runs that he's like in charge of. And yeah, you're like, okay, I'm ready to fight this guy, and then it's Brick, and you're like, oh, am I fighting Brick? I don't want to fight Brick. I've seen him punch people into blood mist. Like, I don't want to fight this guy. And he like joins your team. Roland and Lilith, they're dating. It's adorable. They go on vacation together, they say at one point, which is adorable. Which I hate Roland, if you can't tell. I hate that.
El Generico, my friend.
El Generico's awful. And then Mordecai, he's like a drunk. He just chills and he's like a drunk, and you find him. He's like, yeah, I'll come help, I guess. I'm so happy to what happened to Mordecai. You don't even know. You don't even know how happy I am that happened. I don't know if we're gonna talk about it because I don't know about spoilers or anything.
Josh is just gonna flip the screen like, I'm done.
Okay, spoiler alert. Here it is now. Like, spoiler alert. At some point in the game, Mordecai's bird Bloodwing gets captured by the bad guy, and you go to get Bloodwing back, and you find out the bad guy has corrupted him with, is it iridium? Is that the name of that weird element they have?
So,
Like slag or something like that.
Yeah, he's
But,
got
like,
all
it
the elements out of him.
Yeah, it turns him into this giant, like, massive bird thing that you have to fight, and you kill it. And it's great because Mordecai just goes mental. And it's hilarious because he is an awful character. I'm sorry, Josh, he's terrible in my opinion.
They killed his pet, dude.
Not only that, the head of the bird explodes.
yeah, it does.
And then later in the game, when you go to, like, I forget the name of the town. You go to the town that's like the hub of the bad guys. They have Bloodwing's dead body like up on display. It's so funny.
Savage.
Hilarious.
We roll in there, and I'm like, oh no. Josh, like,
Yeah.
fucking kidding me.
Whoa, language. Holy cow, JC. Come on.
That's what police are for, dude.
Oof. I hope we can believe it. I don't know what you're talking about. There's another big twist thing that happens, but I don't know if that's too big of a spoiler, I think, for us to go into right now. Maybe in a little bit, but who knows. But yeah, the rest of the cast is back. Claptrap, Ellie. Oh, Ellie's not old. Ellie's new. I'm sorry. Scooter's back.
I just got all tilted from Claptrap. Just
Oh, he's the best. There's an achievement in the game for high-fiving Claptrap.
yeah.
There's an achievement in the game for having a dance party with Claptrap.
This is my character.
Yes. Claptrap is phenomenal. He's just awful at everything that he does, and he's just really funny. He goes to open a door at one point. I think he shocks himself to death for a while, and then he comes back randomly. And then he's like, we're gonna go fight Handsome Jack together, and you have to climb this big staircase, and Claptrap is on one single wheel, and he's like, oh no, the Claptrap's mortal enemy, stairs. You're on your own for this one. Thanks, Claptrap. Appreciate it. Zed's back. Marcus is back. Moxie's back. She has a bigger role in this game. Yeah, we talked about all of them in the last episode, so I'm not gonna dive. What'd you say, Josh?
I thought you were gonna say. You said she's got a bigger role in this game. I thought you were gonna say she has bigger boobs in this game.
Oh my god. Well, you do a mission for her, or you can she has a bar in Sanctuary, which is the main hub town, and you can tip her. And if you tip her $15,000, she gives you 2 guns. One's called Moxie's Good Touch. One's called Moxie's Bad Touch. Which is and when there's SMGs, and when you fire them, they give your controller a unique vibration pattern. Yeah.
We're never gonna be able to air this episode.
It's hilarious. It is so funny. But they're back. All the original cast characters is back, and then there's some new ones. We'll start with the guy that you meet first, Sir Hammerlock. I don't know how you felt about Hammerlock. He's generic Englishman going on a big game hunt.
Reminded me of the guy from Jumanji.
Like the bad guy from Jumanji? Yeah. He looks like him. He's all right, I guess. He's just kind of.
I like some of his quotes. His quotes are okay. Hello, mercenary person. I have money and a problem, and you're like,
yeah.
Okay, mission giver. Absolutely, I understand what this is about.
Yeah. He's all right sometimes. I wasn't a big fan of him. I never did any of his missions. I know
the DLC was cool. The DLC.
I never did the DLC because I just didn't like him as a character. I was like, oh, a DLC surrounded by him,
It was called the Big Game Hunt, so you can imagine what you did.
Oh well, that was a lot of his quests were help me kill this
certain amount of something.
This certain animal, this amount of animals. And actually, there's some Easter eggs we'll talk about later. There's one of my favorite Easter eggs is one of the missions I think you get from him. Who else? You got?
Not the best DLC though.
No, we'll talk about that later. Don't you worry. And then there's a new character named Ellie who actually runs the catch rides in this game. But don't worry, Scooter's still around. In fact, Ellie is Scooter's sister and Maxie's daughter, or Mad Moxie's daughter. And she's great. I don't remember too much of her lines, but she's just this big, larger woman, big redneck mechanic, like the complete antithesis to what Moxie is, with this like this dolled up, makeup up, like real slender with curves type woman as Moxie, and then like this is her daughter, like real big and like rough and rednecky. I think at one point, if you do something for Moxie, she like talks in her southern accent that Ellie and Suter have, and she's like, "I swear, if you tell anybody I talk like that, I will kill you. I will kill you." Like, all right, Moxie, kill.
Okay, I understand.
So we have three more to talk about. I think three more to talk about. Three more new characters. Which one do you want to go for first, JC and Josh? Because I know you've played this game. We have Torg, Handsome Jack, and Tiny Tina.
I think what we should do is we should save the best for last. So Tina's gonna go last.
So Tina's last. Okay.
Tina's gonna go last.
Do Torg first.
Yeah,
do Torg first.
Torg.
Okay, Josh, you know anything about Torg, or do you want me to jump in?
Not much. I believe he is one of the gun manufacturers.
Yes, yeah, he's a gun manufacturer.
I know things.
He has his own DLC too, actually. Yeah, which is pretty fun. So Torg's guns, they're all of their special things is like when the bullets explode, because he's like explosions, and whenever you talk to him, he screams at the top of his lungs. But he's not a very bright man. So like one of his lines is like, you say, like he goes to read a sentence and he just like cuts off how he's like, "There's too many syllables. Apologize." It's like screams it at the top of his lungs at you. There's so many phenomenal quotes that he has, but we can't say on this podcast because it is family friendly. So if you will minus JC's like language earlier,
we'll fix it in post, dude. That's a post.
Yeah, that's Brandon's job or JC's job or something. I don't edit. But yeah, look up his quotes. They are phenomenal. He just screams at people, and they're great. I know in the pre-sequel, there's a mission that you can either like throw this laser weapon off of a bridge and he'll give you a regular weapon, like one of his explosion weapons, or you can take the laser weapon. And like he's screaming at you like, "It's lasers! How do they kill people? It's just that!" And he's just like scream. He's the most over the top character in the whole game, and that's saying something, because there's so many over the top characters in this game. He's great. And then Handsome Jack, my spirit animal, I think, not because I'm handsome. No, well, not that I think I'm handsome or I'm narcissistic. He's just like. He's just the most annoying person on the planet. Like, I
love how he would just like chime in and just like taunt you the whole game, and he's like, "Oh, I see you're doing that. Good luck." And you're like, "Really, Jack? You're gonna call in because he owns like the whole world. And he just calls into your little thing on your arm, and you're just like, awesome, incoming call from Jack. Hey, Jack, what's going on?" And it's like there's nothing you can do about it. He's just It's like imagine you're at work, and instead of your boss coming into your boss that you hate coming into your office or your cubicle telling you what to do, they just like video email you and just like taunt you the whole time. Be like, "I hear you're doing those reports today. You better do it. Good luck." And like, but his taunts get so crazy. Like, I think at one point he's like, "You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna have a pony made completely out of diamonds. I'm gonna name it after you, and its name's gonna be Butt Stallion." Yes.
Thanks, Jack, I guess. There's actually a mission that he gives you. There's a mission that Jack gives you in one of the later sections of the game, later areas of the world, where you climb up and you find the echo device, and you're on this really high peak above lava, and it's Jack, and he's like, "Why don't you just do us all a favor and kill yourself? Just jump off right here and just kill yourself, and we'll all be done with this."
I did that mission.
And you do it, and you get an achievement for it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no.
I was an achievement hunter. No bones about it.
But I think the best part about Jack, which they touch on in pre-sequel a lot more, is he believes he's the hero of the story. He's really like, he's the bad guy and he's doing bad things, but in his mind he's doing the right thing to save Pandora, which is a really cool character, like Hitch, I think. Because when you play the pre-sequel, and I guess we'll touch on the pre-sequel later this month, but like you see his transition from just like a normal worker trying to right wrongs, like turning into this malicious bad guy that really goes off the rocker. I think like one of the echo quotes you get is like, he's killing his boss at one point, or like an underling that's right under him, and he's like, "Okay, intern boy, like, make a note that I'm strangling this guy." And he's like, "Okay, choking this guy." He's like, "No, no, no. Use the correct words. I'm strangling him. Choking is something that you do when you eat. I'm using my watch chain to crush his windpipe." He's really messed up.
Yeah.
His face is all disfigured, so he wears a mask of his face, and that's why he's called Handsome Jack. He used to date Moxie at one point, which is a hilarious lore-based thing because they have a whole back and forth the whole time.
See, there's some lore, dude. There's some lore.
Yeah, like I said, the lore is deep and phenomenal and wonderful and fantastic. And if you ever want to look into the lore, go ahead, because you can read Borderlands 2 lore for roughly a week and a half, and you won't run out of lore to read. There's that much like built into this whole thing. It's great. Jack's the best bad guy ever made, and I will definitively make that statement. The best protagonist in video games.
Antagonist.
Yeah, antagonist.
Sorry, antagonist. I'm a biologist. All right, I'm a biologist. English terms get confused in the
From
brain.
his perspective.
Yes,
From his perspective. There we go. He's the best antagonist in. Yeah, maybe I like him. Maybe he's my protagonist. All right?
maybe.
He's the best antagonist
Yeah.
in modern. I'll say in modern video.
And I think that's one of my favorite things. The switch from Borderlands to Borderlands 2 was there wasn't really an antagonist in Borderlands 1. This kind of gave the entire game direction, not just we're going to find a vault. And
Yeah. I like that. Because like you said, the first one, that's what it was. It was just like, we're just here to do whatever. Now it's like, well, there's actually a reason why we're doing this, not just like for funsies. And whoever the voice actor is, I don't know who he is. If for some reason the voice actor of Handsome Jack ever listens to this, phenomenal job. Don't ever stop doing what you're doing, because the voice acting, I think, is what makes it for me. The voice acting for all these characters is great, but I think Jack in particular has a really good like arrogance to him that just is great. Words are hard. They're just great.
Yeah, through the whole game though, where you see him kind of just introduce himself, but then he just kind of keeps that same level throughout the whole game. You're like, okay, this is who this guy is. Like, there's not any kind of like major twist to it or anything like that. Like, you see like Jack is the bad guy, okay, and then he's like, no, like, here's why I'm doing this, and this is why I think I'm right. And you're like, dude, you're nuts.
Yeah, and there's like other little things in there, like the entire game, and it happened in the first one. You're being contacted by this person named Angel, who's basically Cortana. Right, Josh? She's basically Cortana. She's like this blue AI that shows up and she's like, "Hey, do this." But you find out that she's also a siren, and she's actually Jack's daughter, and Jack has her like imprisoned, and he's like, it's for her own good. It's to protect her and all this stuff. Whatever. But like it's like his daughter. Like he's really like invested in this person, even though he's using her for bad things. He still loves her.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very gray area type bad guy, which is why I love him so much. Yeah. Morally ambiguous. There we go. There's your big word for the day, Josh. Morally ambiguous, even though
Too
it's
many syllables.
even though it's too many. Apologize.
Now, going into, I think, what we can all agree as, and I'm sure you two of you who have never played, I'm sure you guys will agree as well. The best character in this game, Tiny Tina.
Considering she's the only player I've really experienced.
Yes,
I'm
you
gonna
Has
say yes.
about 20 minutes before we started.
Yes.
Like, check this out. So, I've got to say, the world's deadliest 13-year-old is just a racket.
Mm.
Like, she is just, you meet her and you're like, wow, this girl is nuts.
She's living her life.
She is indeed living her best life.
And you know what? She is extremely talented at what she does.
Well, that's why I love her so much, is because she's just so out there. I remember when I first played the game, there's no kids on Pandora, right? You never see any children. Maybe in Sanctuary, I don't remember, but there's never any kids. And then there's this random 13-year-old. She's just like living by herself, blowing up bad guys, having tea parties with Princess Fluffy Butt.
Stuff to him.
And I remember when I first met her, I was like, why is she here? Like, why is she by herself? Like, who is this child and why is nobody with her? And then you find out her backstory, like where her parents actually are and all this stuff. And you're like, oh, like she's actually just a kid. That's really sad. because she's just alone and scared on this desolate planet with bad guys. So she copes with it by just like blowing everyone up.
I am all about what you feel.
Yeah, like she's described as like the best demolitions expert on Pandora, and has a plethora of great quotes. There's too many to quote. There's too many to actually quote.
No.
Yeah.
But I think my favorite, she writes you a poem, like when you're going for the final fight, and she's like, "I wrote you guys a poem. Kill Jack, kill Jack, kill Jack, kill Jack, kill Jack. A poem by Tiny Tina." Like that's what she says. The only way I can equivalate this, Brandon, for you to understand, and those of you who never played Borderlands but have played this next game I'm going to reference, maybe you'll get it. She is Jinx from League of Legends, but a 13-year-old.
Okay.
That's exactly what she is. If you had Jinx from League of Legends as a 13-year-old instead of her like early 20s, like that's Tiny Tina. Just like this 13-year-old girl, like living her best life. Just she likes blowing stuff up. Well, she does. She's great. She actually got her own. She got her own expansion. Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep.
Yes.
So the premise for this, it's so the other DLCs, the other Torg's Adventure, Hammerlock's Big Game Hunt. There's another one. I forget what it's called. I think it's like the Scarlet Sea or something like that. It was pretty dumb, in my opinion. They're all worlds in the game. You can travel to these lands, right? There's a new land available to travel to, and it's Torg's Arena. Tiny Tina's or Assault on Dragon's Keep happens after the main story, and Tina sits down with spoilers, a couple of the Vault Hunters from the first game, and she's like, "We're gonna play Bunkers and Badasses," which is Borderlands equivalent of Dungeons and Dragons. And they're all like a couple of them are like, "I don't want to do this," and I think Lilith is like, "Come on, she's a kid, just like amuse her." And then the whole story is the original Vault Hunters playing as the new Vault Hunters in this Dungeons and Dragons thing, right? And the entire time, like Tiny Tina's narrating, and you hear the voices of the original Vault Hunters and like what they would do. Like I think that like when you first get introduced to this world, Tiny Tina's like, "There's unicorns flying everywhere and rainbows and a bright blue sky." And one of the Vault Hunters is like, "Tina, isn't it supposed to be sad?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, the sky is dark with lightning." And like all of a sudden the entire setting changes because she changes it because it's Dungeons and Dragons. And you go through this whole nonsense where you have to save the princess or the queen or whatever, and it turns out to be Butt Stallion, the diamond dragon that Handsome Jack had made in your honor. Great. A whole lot of shenanigans. I think there's a couple side missions with Torg where Torg's actually in it, and he wants to play. But I think Lilith and the other Vault Hunters won't let him because he's not a true nerd. Like Lilith's like, "I got made fun of as a kid for playing Bunkers and Badasses, and you're just doing it to be trendy." And they have him in the stockade. He's like, "I just want to play with friends." But the funny thing is, not funny thing, I guess the feels thing is, it's another way of Tina coping with like the world around her, because I can't explain any more without massive spoilers for this game, so I don't know if we want to talk about it or not. I'll leave it up to JC.
I mean, our show should essentially be called Spoiler Cast.
Spoiler alert. Yeah, we should change it to spoiler. So basically, in the main campaign, at some point, the original El Generico soldier Roland dies. All right, spoiler alert. A little too late for that.
I'll put it in the
yeah. He dies. He gets shot by Handsome Jack in the back, which raises a lot of questions because there's shields in this game, and I've taken full like rocket launcher blasts to the face and not lost my shields, but yet like a single pistol bullet, like Gearbox. But he dies, and in the lore of the game, Roland was like a father figure. Like he was a friend, but he was also like a father figure to Tina. And at the end of this Bunkers and Badasses game, the DLC, it's Tina's like, "The White Knight shows up to save everybody," and it's Roland. And when he comes in, all the people are like, "Oh God, Tina, no." And like at the end, it shows her at like the monument they have built to Roland, like putting flowers, and it's all about her coping with the death of this like father figure. lot of like really like gray areas. They throw a lot of emotions at you because they're people. Like it's this over the top world, but you remember that they're just people, and she's a child. She's a child, and her father figure's dead, and that's how she's dealing.
That's really interesting because that's how like a child at her age would actually deal with that psychologically. Is through a lot of it they deal like with play, which you see with her a lot through like the use of her stuffed animals.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and I think like once again, spoiler alert. I think like the first mission you do for her, you collect like forget the guy's name. It's a jar with a bug in it. It's one of her friends, and like her doll called Princess Fluffy Butt, and you get her some crumpets because you're gonna have a tea party, and then you have to get the guest of honor it's a maniac whose name is Flesh Stick, and you find out later that like he is directly responsible for her parents not being around. And she ends up like killing him at the tea party. And like when you first go to get him, she sees him and she's like, I don't know why, but seeing him makes me scared. And like you're like, that was a weird thing to say. And then you find out like she's just a child. Like that's what she's doing. Like that guy is responsible for her parents being around, so she's afraid of him. Best character bar none. She's great. Look up Tiny Tina quotes.
Press now, Chip. Oh my god, dude.
I mean, I can give you more. I can give you more Tiny Tina quotes to make you feel better. I have a bunch of them.
Yeah, let's lift the show up a little bit, dude.
Let me find a real good because I have a whole list of them here. There's one. She's talking about her doll, Princess Fluffy Butt, and she says like she got a gut full of dynamite and a booty like bang. Damn girl, like a 13-year-old just discovering like cursing. Like she's just saying random nonsense. Yeah, at one point she's making a bomb for you and she closes her workshop door and she starts singing I'm a little teapot. She's like, I'm a little teapot, and you're like, oh, she's gonna sing the song, but it goes, I'm a little teapot, bloody and cut. Here's my handle, here's my butt, and then there's a big explosion noise. She's a 13-year-old in this crazy blow up world that is just great. Best character.
God, I want to play Borderlands again.
Oh yeah, we're going to. Josh and I have all of the games downloaded, so you should get on that.
I missed the summer sale.
It's okay. It's only like $60 now. You should definitely get it, and you can play Borderlands 2 with us.
For hours of entertainment, of
Absolutely.
course.
It's
yeah.
good. About that. We'll do the pre. We got to beat 1 and 2. And
you can write it off. You can write it off as a tax break because it's for work.
Mammoth is gonna love that.
yeah, and I hope the government isn't watching this, right?
As Brandon's like, boo!
Yo, yeah.
So moving off the characters, you want to jump into some of the Easter eggs?
Sorry, I'm sick. Give me 1 second. You guys start.
Go for it.
So a couple of the Easter eggs were hilarious. The Minecraft Easter egg. I'm not sure if there was another one, but I know that one of the Psycho's heads was actually just one of the Minecraft blocks.
No, the one that I saw. So you can get an Easter egg after doing the main Easter egg where you can make your guy's character a Minecraft block. But in one of the areas, I can't think of what it's called, but you like go behind this back path and you climb up a little bit of mountain, and then there's a wall in front of you, and all of a sudden the texture of the dirt is Minecraft texture, and you can see the grid blocks. And you like punch it down. You can't shoot it. You have to punch it down like you're playing Minecraft. And you go into this little chasm and there's Minecraft ore everywhere. And there's chests. And then there's creepers everywhere. Like Minecraft creepers that blow up in front of you. And there's a big one called the Badass Creeper. Yeah, it's like a legitimate, like you're in a little cave that's from Minecraft.
Did we find that?
I think I did at one point.
I don't think I did, but that's awesome.
Yeah, if we were to play the game right now, I like I said, I don't remember the name of the actual area that it's in, but I could, once we got there, I was like, okay, yeah, I know where this is at. But yeah, it's just like a whole little Minecraft cave, which is great because Gearbox apparently just doesn't care about anything. Because I don't know if they got rights to any of these, but they're Easter eggs, so it doesn't matter, right?
That's the new logo for the show. It's tilted in a bunch of hands.
Explicit gameplay. So.
Yeah. One of my favorite Easter eggs is it's an achievement called Tribute to a Vault Hunter. And this, I think I'm getting the song right. This reminds me of like Adam's Song by Blink-182. So there was a fan of the game who was sick or he died and he really wanted to play the game and wrote to Gearbox. I think he was sick. He wrote to Gearbox saying, like, I really want to play the game, but I'm sick, blah, blah, blah. And he ended up passing away, unfortunately, before the game came out. So what they did is they made a character and named it after him and put him in the main town of Sanctuary. So he's in the game. And if you go and you talk to him, you get an achievement called Tribute to a Vault Hunter, because that was their tribute to this longtime fan of the game.
That's cool. I love when they do stuff like that.
Yeah, and they have a heart, which I never said they didn't, but in this crazy, it's once again weird that there's this crazy world of maniacs and explosions and death, and they do stuff like that to with their fans. So that was a really really cool one that I like seeing. That's why I put that one first, so we can get to the nice one, so we're not really sad anymore. There's one, I think it's a mission from Hammerlock. You have to kill a Bullymong, which are these like 4-armed monkey Johns. Yeah. And its name is Donkey Mong. And he throws explosive barrels at you. And then when you kill him, you get another one, and you have to go kill King Mong, which is a King Kong reference. Mm-hmm. And he climbs like spires and stuff, so those are really fun references. There's a guy in Sanctuary. You know, Sanctuary is like the hub town, and they have random NPCs that they have just like built-in voice lines. But there's one specific one where if you find them, he'll say, "I used to be a vault hunter like you, but then I took a bullet to the knee." Yeah, Brandon gets it.
Yep.
JC has no idea what I'm referencing.
No, I don't get it. Yeah, for the audio.
It's a Skyrim reference.
One of the guards, I believe, in Whiterun, as you're walking around, he'll say, "I used to be an adventurer like you, but then I took an arrow to the knee."
Yeah, so that's a reference to that. And I think, fun fact, like back, I don't want to say back in the day, but back in like medieval times, taking an arrow to the knee, they said people were saying is like a metaphor for getting married.
Interesting.
That's funny.
Yeah. I used to be a vault hunter like you, but then I took a bullet to the knee, which is another good one. And then the last Easter egg, one of my personal favorites, because it's one of my favorite movies of all time. Ellie, the big catch a ride lady, you do a mission for her, she'll give you a gun, and I always butcher this pronunciation. So those of you Latin aficionados, have mercy.
You're wrong in the comments.
Yeah, Veritas Equitas, I think it's how you pronounce it. And it's a Boondock Saints reference. Yeah, Alexa, I know, I'm sorry. That was rough. But it's a Boondock Saints reference the brothers. Which is great. Love that movie. And I can just imagine Boondock Saints running around in this world. You're just like, they're like, our work's never done. We have to kill so many things. There's so many things to kill, you guys. But there's a million other Easter eggs. There's like animals named Pimone and Toomba.
Nice.
Alexa's like, gotta play it.
I can't think of it. I can't think of a lot of the other, but there's like a Dark Souls reference every other level. There's references to the older to the first game at certain points. Yeah, it's a lot of Easter eggs. They really slip a lot of Easter eggs into this game, which is great. Great.
Now, as we're coming into the final bit of ratings compared, as we're kind of reliving this, and I think with Joshy here as well, I'm remembering a lot about too, and I might have to change my rating on where this fits in with the trilogy, but I'm gonna hold that off. But Chip, where do you put this compared?
It's the best Borderlands game ever made. But like here's the other two Borderlands games, right? Here's Borderlands 2, like way up here, like you can't see my camera. It is just, I don't know if it's because I played that one the most, or if it was because the story got so much better from 1 to 2. Like Josh said, it wasn't just like find the thing. It was now like, here's a bad guy, stop him. Like, I'm just talking about this, I'm 100% playing this when we're done recording here, because like I want to go back and play it. I want to go back and play it that badly. But no, I think the characters are great. The bad guy's great. All the bad guys around him are phenomenal. The world is awesome. The end game is awesome. All the DLCs for the most part are phenomenal. I just think it's better than the other ones. I think the pre-sequel that we'll get to later this month has some really great moments in it. Really good characters, really good development of like Handsome Jack. You see him kind of become this bad guy, but I don't think the characters that you play as are as lovable because because you've heard of these characters in the second one, so you know where they end up, you know what happens to them. Whereas the characters you play as in the second one, you're going through it, you're not really sure what's going to happen, right? Excuse me. Whereas in the pre-sequel, you've seen all the names of all these characters, so you know where they're going to be eventually. Which is why I think 2 is better than the pre-sequel, and it's better than the first one. It's the best. It's the best one. Also, we're not including Tales from the Borderlands because that's a Telltale game, not a Gearbox game.
Well done, Chip. Well done. Joshua, where do you put this?
So it's a hard 1 and 2 are pretty close for me because I definitely played one more.
We played the hell out of 1.
Played because that was kind of what got us started on playing some co-op campaign.
We went into the last episode, just kind of like how we showed up at GameStop and they were like, "Hey, what's a good co-op game?" And he's like, "This is the one." We are like, "Okay, here we go."
Put in like 15 hours on it the next day, and
I regret nothing. I regret nothing.
Some dedication right there.
So Borderlands 1 kind of has my heart, but I love they didn't drop a beat with Borderlands 2, just as good.
I want to point out before we jump into JC something I want to make note that this isn't a game where once you beat the main story you just turn it off and you're done with it. Even without DLC, there's so many side missions and nonsense to go through. And even when you beat all the side missions, there's an MMO type aspect to it where there's raid bosses in the game and all this loot to collect and this rare loot, and each boss has its own has its own unique gun that it can drop at a small percent rate. So I remember some of my best memories of playing these games were not playing the story, but just 8 hours at a time doing the same raid boss over and over and over and over and over again, hoping to get that shotgun, hoping to get that special shield, hoping to get that whatever. And I think some of the funniest moments were just the chaos that ensued of me and my friends screaming at the top of our lungs at 3 a.m. "Fuck you nonsensical idiot! Pick me up! Pick me up!" You should definitely bleep that in editing. Sorry, ladies and gents, I got into character too much. Okay, Jesse, what's your rating?
I think this episode is the best. All right, what's up, Josh? What do you have?
Before we get started, back to what Chip was saying is where the game's not finished. I think 2 is that where they implemented where you could kind of restart the story.
The New Game Plus?
Vault Hunter mode, I think they called it.
From where you were, and then keep leveling up and getting stronger, and all the enemies got stronger as well.
Yeah, you basically start over, but all the enemies are super strong, and you keep leveling all your guns, which is also cool because you can go back through because there's certain points where you're like, man, I have this really cool gun and it has this cool effect, but it's a level 12 gun. I wish I had a better version of it. Well, now you can go back and do the mission again and get that gun at level 64 or whatever, which is also really cool.
Cool.
All right, JC, now go ahead.
Excellent contribution, Josh. I am going to stick with it with my original call from the first episode. Borderlands 1, like Joshy said it, and again, this was my Borderland, my partner in the Borderlands. We spent way too much time in that game for a way too short of a period. But again, I regret nothing. It was a beautiful time. But Borderlands 1 just was that, again, has, like you were saying, it has our heart. Borderlands 2, I thought they added a lot of really great stuff. The character development I thought was really good. The DLC I thought was amazing. Tina was awesome. And how they took the first one, how they paid such homage to the first one, I think really was well done. Because again, with that being my favorite game, when we went to the Mordecai thing, that was horrifying.
You mean hilarious?
There. This is why I'm glad we don't shoot the shows together. But yeah, I'm gonna say this is 2 out of 3 for me. Now, Brandon, what do you think?
Brandon's never played the games before, by the way.
I've never.
Yeah, this is the best possible.
I mean,
Just how we
from
felt.
what I heard throughout this episode and last episode, it seems like Borderlands 2 is probably the way to go.
It's okay. You're wrong.
How can you say that when Borderlands 2 has Tiny Tina in it? There's no Tiny Tina. That argument alone makes Borderlands 2 better than Borderlands 1 is Tiny Tina.
That's a good argument.
It is very.
I don't need any other argument.
That's it.
All right, and we've got one final thought. Now, Alexa, Brandon did this the last episode. So, would you say that Borderlands 2 is the best Borderlands you've heard?
Let me ask you this: after hearing our talking about the game, would you want to play it?
Absolutely.
You would go insane on this game. You would
Like,
just, you
insane.
you would play like the Berserker or something like that. And you just go absolutely
Oh,
nuts.
absolutely. I do love player, and
I'm so scared.
I mean, if I
Sounds
get
like
to blow
you're buying
things
this
up,
game.
yeah,
For the record, for those of you who don't know her, Alexa is Tiny Tina like personified. Like her personality to a T is Alexa.
I mean, I saw her take a nap face down for like 30 seconds mid conversation, so that
yeah.
like, this is my kind of person. I like her.
Got to make a playable Tiny Tina.
Yes, that would be it.
That'd be cool.
That would be it.
Borderlands 3.
Yeah.
That I heard years ago there was rumors of a Borderlands 3 being in production, but I think that might have gotten in. I'm really sad about it.
Well, it took them long enough to put together We Happy Few.
Yeah.
That's a topic for another day, JC.
Cliffhanger.
Hey, cliffhanger indeed. Well,
two episodes from now. 2 episodes from now. Gonna have to wait.
Yeah, 2022. Well, that's all we got for you guys today. Hope you enjoyed the show. And remember, take a deep breath, get your emotions under control, or you might just get tilted.